안녕하십니까? 쉐도잉 100일의 기적입니다. 큰 목소리로 따라하시는 것이 가장 중요한 거 잘 아시죠? 그럼 22일차 쉐도잉 지금부터 시작하겠습니다.
One introduction. My name is Cindy Hayes. I am 24 years old. My life was simple. I lived in a small house with my father. I had a quiet job. I worked in a small bookshop in our town. I liked books. My life was normal and happy. I loved my father very much. He was a good man. He had a company. The company made parts for big machines. It was called Hayes Manufacturing. This company was not just a job for my father. It was his dream. He started it many years ago. He worked very hard every day for his dream. He was proud of his company. But then things changed. Life became difficult. My father's company started to lose money, more and more money. It was a bad time for many small companies. My father was very worried. I saw it in his eyes. He stopped smiling often. He could not sleep well at night. His worry became my worry. One evening he sat next to me. His eyes were sad. He looked very tired. He said, "Cindy, I don't know what to do. The company is in danger. I think we will lose everything. The business, our house, everything we have." My heart felt very cold. I did not want to lose our home. I did not want to see my father lose his dream. He worked his whole life for it. I felt desperate. I wanted to help him, but I did not know how. I only had my small job. I could not make enough money to save his company. We were facing a very big problem. It felt like the end of our simple life. I knew something big had to happen. I had to find a way to help my father. This is the story of what happened next. It is the story of the difficult choices I had to make to save my family. 2. A big offer. A week went by. My dad looked less worried for a few days, but I knew the problems were still there. Then, one evening, he came to me. He looked a little nervous, but also a little hopeful. "Cindy," he said, "I have some news. The billionaire John Sterling wants to meet us." I was very surprised. John Sterling, everyone knew that name. He was one of the richest men in the country. He owned Sterling Industries, a huge company. Why would a man like that want to meet my dad? My dad's company was small and in trouble. The next day, we went to meet Mr. Sterling. His office was in a very tall building in the city center. It was a very large room with big windows. You could see the whole city from there. Everything looked expensive and important. Mr. Sterling came into the room. He was a tall man, dressed in a nice suit. He looked strong and serious. His face was handsome, but his eyes were like ice. They did not look warm or friendly. He did not smile at us. He sat behind a very large desk. He started to talk to my dad. "Mr. Hayes," he said in a clear voice, "I know about the problems with your company. I know you are losing money." My dad looked down at his hands. Mr. Sterling continued, I can help you. I can save your company. My dad looked up quickly, hope in his eyes. How? He asked. I can give you a lot of money, Mr. Sterling said. Enough money to stop your problems, enough money to make your company strong again. My dad looked so happy. It was like a heavy cloud left his face. He started to say thank you many times, but Mr. Sterling held up his hand. Wait, he said again. His voice was quiet now, but very serious. There is one condition. I want something in return for this help. He turned his cold eyes from my dad and looked only at me. My heart started to beat very, very fast in my chest. Boom, boom, boom. What did he want from me? Then he said the words. I want to marry your daughter, Cindy. My breath stopped. Marry him, this man, a man I did not know at all. A billionaire who looked at me with cold eyes. It was impossible. It was like something from a strange story. I felt stunned. I could not move or speak. My dad was silent too. He looked at Mr. Sterling, then at me, then back at Mr. Sterling. His face showed total surprise. He did not know what to say or what to do. The offer was amazing. The condition was shocking. The room was very quiet for a long time. 3. My new life. I looked at my dad. I saw the worry and pain in his eyes. I knew what I had to do. It was a very hard choice, but I had to help him. His business was everything to him. So I told him I would marry John Sterling. It was the only way to save his company, to save our life. My plan was simple, but scary. I would marry this rich man, and my dad's company would be safe. My dad also had another idea. He said maybe I could learn things from John. John Sterling knew a lot about big business. Maybe I could learn some smart ideas from him, ideas that could help my dad's small company too. This part felt strange, but I wanted to help my dad in any way I could. The wedding happened very fast. It was a big wedding with many people I did not know, but it did not feel happy or warm. It felt cold. John, my new husband, did not smile much. He gave me a beautiful ring. It was very big, but it felt heavy on my finger. It felt more like a promise made for money than for love. After the wedding, I moved into John's house. It was a mansion, like a palace. It had so many rooms, but it felt empty. It was very quiet. I felt very alone inside the big house. John was my husband now, but he was like a stranger. He was always working. He left the house very early in the morning before I woke up. He came home late at night after I was in bed. We ate dinner sometimes, but it was usually in silence. He did not talk much to me. He slept in a different bedroom far away from mine. I tried to talk to him. I would ask, "How was your day?" He would give short answers like, "Fine" or "busy." It was hard to live like this. I was married, but I felt like I was living alone in a very big, lonely house. This was my new life. It was not what I dreamed of. 4. A secret plan. I was living in John's big house now. It was quiet and lonely. I remembered my dad's words. He hoped I could learn business ideas from John. He thought John's big company must have smart ways of working. My dad needed these ideas for his own company. This idea felt a little wrong, like a secret plan, but I wanted to help my dad very much. He needed more than just money, he needed knowledge. When John was not at home, I sometimes went into his office. It was a big room with many books and papers. I looked at some papers on the desk. They had many numbers and business words. I did not understand most of it. It was hard to find any useful information for my dad. John was very careful with his work. I knew I needed to do something else. I needed John to talk to me. If he trusted me, maybe he would share more about his work. So I started to try and make him notice me. I wanted him to see me as a person, not just the woman he married for business. I started to wear nicer clothes, even when I was just at home. I asked the cook to make food that John liked. I tried to be in the rooms where he was, but quietly. I also tried to talk to him about his day. When he came home, I would ask, "How was your work today, John?" He usually gave short answers, like busy or fine. But I kept trying. I listened carefully when he said anything about his company or a problem he had. I asked simple questions to show I was interested. I hoped that slowly he would talk more to me. I wanted him to feel comfortable and maybe share some of his big business ideas. This was still part of my secret plan to help my dad. But as I tried to talk to him, I also started to see John a little differently. 5. He sees me. I kept trying to connect with John. Slowly, small changes began. He started to talk a little more at dinner. He would ask about my day. One evening, he came home very tired. He had a big problem at work. I made him some tea. I sat with him quietly. He looked at me and said, "Thank you, Cindy." His eyes were a little softer. It was a small thing, but it felt important to me. I felt a little hope that maybe he saw me as more than just his wife for a deal. Then one night, a big storm started outside. The wind was strong and loud. Rain hit the windows hard, like many small stones. Suddenly, all the lights went out. The huge house was dark and silent. It felt a little scary. I was alone in one room. Then I heard a noise. It was John. He came with a small candle. The light was soft in the dark. He asked, "Are you okay, Cindy?" We went to the living room. We sat near the candle. The storm was loud outside, but inside, with the small light, it felt calm and safe. We started to talk, not about business or work or money. We talked about our lives. John told a story about being a small boy. He was very scared of storms then. He laughed when he told the story. It was the first time I heard him laugh like that. It was a warm, nice sound. He didn't seem like the cold billionaire anymore. He seemed like a man, just a man. He started to ask about my life before. my job in the bookshop, the books I liked. I told him about my dreams when I was young. We talked for hours and hours. The storm outside continued, but we didn't notice the time passing. In the dark, I saw a different side of John, a softer side. A man who could be scared, who could laugh, who could listen carefully to my words. When the lights finally came back on, the night was almost finished. We looked at each other. Something felt different between us. He looked at me in a new way, and I looked at him. My heart felt strange and confused. Oh no, I thought. This is not good. I realized with surprise that I was starting to like John, not the rich man who saved my dad. I was starting to like him, John, the man I talked to in the dark. This feeling was not part of my plan at all. My plan was simple: help Dad. But now my heart was starting to fall for the man I married for money. It was a problem. 6, our new love. Things started to change in the big house. John was different now. He started to come home earlier than before. He wasn't always working late now. He asked me to have dinner with him in the main dining room. Before, we ate separately or in silence. Now we talked. John began to share things with me. He told me about his work. He told me about his plans for Sterling Industries. These were big ideas, important ideas. He was starting to trust me. He saw me as someone he could talk to, not just the woman he married for a deal. One day, John took my hand. We were sitting together after dinner. He looked at me, and his eyes were soft. "Cindy," he said, his voice was quiet. "I know why we got married. It was a business deal, but I am starting to feel more for you." My heart jumped. I was very surprised. This was not part of the plan when I married him, but I knew the feeling he spoke about, because I felt it too. Slowly, without planning it, I was starting to fall in love with John. He was kind under his busy, cold face. He was smart and strong. And I saw that he was lonely like me. We were two lonely people in a very big house, and we found something real between us. I loved John. I really did. This made my situation very difficult. My heart felt torn in two directions. My original plan was to help my dad with money, yes, but also to get business ideas, maybe even secrets from John's company. My dad still called me sometimes. "Cindy, my dear," he would say, "any news, anything from Sterling Industries that can help me understand how to make my business strong again." He still needed knowledge, not just money. Now I had a terrible problem. If I helped my dad by looking for John's business secrets, I would betray the man I loved. I would hurt John deeply. He trusted me, and I would break that trust. But if I did nothing, if I protected John and his company's information, my dad's business might still fail. John's money helped, but Dad needed new ideas too. He needed smart ways of doing business from a big company like Sterling Industries. I felt caught in the middle. I loved John, and I wanted to be a good wife to him. But I also loved my dad, and I wanted to save his life's work. What could I do? Help my dad and hurt John? Or protect John and maybe not help my dad enough? It was a very difficult choice for me. 7. The bad choice. My dad called me often. His business was still not doing well. He sounded tired and worried. "Cindy," he said, "John is so smart. He must have ideas. If I just knew a little about his new plans, it could help me." His words made my heart ache. I saw John every day. He was kind to me now. He shared his thoughts, but not about big company plans. I felt pressure from my dad, and I felt love for John. It was a difficult time. My heart was pulled in two directions. One afternoon, I was in John's office. He was out. His laptop was open. I saw a file name, Project Nightingale Confidential. I knew confidential meant secret. My heart beat fast. I looked closer. It showed plans for a new way to make products, cleaner and better for the environment. It was important, new technology. This was the information my dad needed. It could save his company. My hands were shaking. I thought of my dad's sad face. I thought of John's kind smile. Taking this information felt wrong, but my dad's words came back. "Please, Cindy," for me. The pressure was too much. I made a bad choice. I took my phone. I took pictures of some papers on the screen, then I closed the laptop quickly. My heart felt heavy like a stone. I felt like a bad person. Later, I met my dad quickly. I showed him the pictures. "Dad," I said softly, "this is a big secret. Be careful." He looked at the pictures. His eyes were wide with hope. He looked so happy. "Oh, Cindy, my brave girl, you did it. This can help us so much." He hugged me. He was happy, but I felt terrible inside. I had betrayed John. I went home. I couldn't look John in the eye. He smiled at me, but I felt a wall between us. The guilt was a heavy weight. John had told me he loved me. He trusted me. I had broken that trust. I knew I had to tell him. I could not keep this secret from the man I loved. That night, I waited until we were alone. I asked him to sit down. My voice was shaking. "John," I began, tears in my eyes, "I have something terrible to tell you. Something I did today." He looked at me, his face kind. It made telling him harder. "Today, I was in your office. Your laptop was open." I saw the Project Nightingale file. His face changed. It became serious. I took pictures and I gave them to my dad. I saw the warmth leave his eyes. His face went pale. He stood up. You did what, Cindy?" he said, voice low and cold. "You stole my company's secrets, our marriage. You were still using me." Tears streamed down my face. "Yes," I whispered. "I did." "I am so sorry, John. I was wrong." He looked at me with pain and anger. "How could you, Cindy? I trusted you. I thought you loved me." He turned and walked quickly out. The door closed. I was left alone, feeling the weight of my bad choice and the pain I caused. 8. A fresh start. 3 days passed. The big house was quiet and cold. John did not talk to me. I felt terrible. My heart was heavy. I knew I hurt him very much. On the 4th day, John asked me to come to his study. I was afraid. He looked at me. He was tired. His eyes were not angry now, but they were sad. "Cindy," he said slowly, "what you did was a big mistake. It was a betrayal. You gave away secret information. That could hurt my company." I looked down. "I know, John." "I am so sorry," he sighed. "I thought a lot. I understand you love your father. You wanted to help him, but you broke my trust." My eyes filled with tears. "I know, but I love you, John. I really do." He looked into my eyes. "Yes," he said softly. "I see it now, and I love you too, Cindy. It is hard, but I want to try to forgive you. I want us to try again." My heart felt a little lighter. John was a very smart man. He called my dad. He talked to him about everything. My dad felt very bad. He said sorry to John many times. John did not want to punish my dad. He found a good way to help him, a legal way. Sterling Industries could work with my dad's company on a small part of the new technology. It was a fair deal for both companies. My dad's company became strong and successful. He learned that being honest was very important. John and I started to talk again. We talked about everything. We needed to build trust again, step by step. It was not easy, but we tried hard. Our love was real. It grew stronger every day. Our marriage was not just a business deal anymore. It was a real partnership. We were a team. We were husband and wife. We were finally, truly happy together.
오늘은 여기까지입니다. 내용이 재미있으셨습니까? 구독, 좋아요, 완료 댓글을 주시면 더욱 성의껏 콘텐츠를 만들어 보답하겠습니다. 감사합니다.